I'm here at the 5G Territory event in Riga, in Latvia, and at the event this week there was an announcement of a collaboration between Latvia and Ukraine for rebuilding the digital infrastructure in Ukraine. And I'm here with Nadia Babych, who is one of the speakers here at the conference, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about the broadband project development. Nadia, hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
So tell me a little bit about what exactly you're doing as part of this collaboration.
About the collaboration, so yesterday I had a speech and I introduced one of the possible pilot project of Ukraine, and it's including our collaboration with Latvia. So the main idea is to build cell towers along railway tracks. They are part of TNT, and according to our memorandum, Latvia we have like common wishes, common institutions to build, to rebuild, and to collaborate in this way to deployment the electronic communication in railway roads too.
And I think yesterday the Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine gave some figures of how many destruction in Ukraine. Yeah, there's like a massive amount of cell towers destroyed, and give us an idea of the scale of the challenge.
Yes, unfortunately. 1 year and 7 months ago, Russia had maximum effort to leave Ukraine offline, so more than 4,000 base stations were destroyed and more than 30,000 kilometers of fiber optic were destroyed too. But nevertheless, the mobile network and the internet are gradually restored. Mobile operators have already restored the operation of more than 1,800 base stations.
Wow.
And restored their services in 500 settlements in southern and eastern parts of Ukraine. So we are working on this way, and it's one of our current aim, it's restoration of mobile and fixed communications.
And the talk you gave yesterday was around digitalization of rail. So this is going alongside rail infrastructure or new rail infrastructure, is that right?
Yesterday I was talking about new architecture because this possible pilot project will be the first stage for provision of 5G coverage in other main highways of TNT networks and Ukraine as a whole. That's why if we're talking about 5G, it needed exactly to build a new architecture.
Right, and I think you're starting with the pilot with 5G and then you're going to scale that up. What kind of timeline have you got?
Oh, we hope, more precisely we believe, that it will happen next summer 2024, and now we have work group that is working on launching 5G pilot project, and we really work hard. Yes, I think that deadline will be aimed.
One of the things I took away from your Deputy Prime Minister's talk yesterday was if any innovative companies want to test their technology, they can do so in Ukraine because you can test that in the harshest of environments. I mean, it is quite a challenge, isn't it?
We will be happy, according to our ministry, to help, and we are open for any discussion, proposals, because we are learning, Thanks for 5G territory, we receive a big homework. We now know what to learn more, what to analyze. So, yes, we are opening.
And this event has got a lot of technologists, but also policymakers. So how has that helped you being here?
First, networking, and once again networking. And we discussed many questions that related with our activities, with our policy, and again we received many advices how to do this. And again, if we're talking about implementation of European legislation, so in this direction we received the many again homework and advices. And promises to collaborate with us in the near future and to help, yes.
Well, Nadia, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for this. So I I want to say again that we appreciate this opportunity to be here and to be heard. For us, in current circumstances, it's very important.
Thank you.
So.
I'm here at the Ministry of Transport in Riga in Latvia, alongside the 5G Territory Conference, which has been taking place over the last few days. And I have the opportunity to speak to Kaspars Briškens, who's the Minister of State for Transport and Communications. Kaspars, hello.
Greetings.
Okay. So what I wanted to start first with is just talk about the collaboration announcement you made for building digital infrastructure for Ukraine, and what that entails, and what do you think is going to happen next?
Yeah, well, I was honored yesterday at the opening of the 5G Territory Conference to sign a memorandum of understanding with the Ukrainian Ministry of Digital Transformation with Minister Fyodorov. And this entails quite a practical set of cooperation actions in order to help Ukraine rebuild its broadband infrastructure, launch 5G services, allow Ukraine to also synchronize its legislative regulation with the European Union's legislation, also to bring Ukraine closer into EU cooperation formats, as of course ultimately we hope that Ukraine will become an EU member, and we are of course as Latvia ready to be a strategic partner for Ukraine. Of course, the devastating war that Russia has caused upon Ukraine has also not only caused a lot of human tragedy, but also a near collapse of Ukraine's communication infrastructure. We know that more than 4,000 base stations have been destroyed, more than 60,000 kilometers of fiber optic lines, and of course all of that needs to be rebuilt, initially planned, then designed, and eventually built. And therefore we are at Ukraine's disposal. We want to work very closely with our counterparts in the Ministry of Digital Transformation. Also have a very active exchange between experts, create an action plan of different practical activities, and again just aid Ukraine into integrating and becoming a full-fledged member of the European digital ecosystem.
Right, and I think it's key about bringing it into bringing its digital infrastructure so that it allows the economy to participate in that. But I'm not asking you to list the 10 points, but I think you had like some 10 points, didn't you, in the plan, or a number of points?
Yeah. All in all, 10 points. The most important ones, as I already mentioned, this is the immediate restoration of broadband connectivity. Today, 1 out of 8 families or households does not have access to mobile coverage or mobile services. So that needs to be reinstated so that people are connected. We will also speak about the different EU integration elements, as I mentioned on the legislative front, training of the relevant experts. Here again, we want to transfer our know-how. One of the interesting areas also for Ukraine, as Ukraine will also have to rebuild a lot of its physical infrastructure, are the synergies between the development of railway and road infrastructure and digital infrastructure. Here, of course, as we are building a greenfield mega project called Rail Baltica. This stretches across all 3 Baltic states. 900 kilometers is an entire ecosystem of different infrastructures. It's a railway backbone, but it also has road infrastructure, interconnected connections to airports, seaports, energy interconnections, including substations, but also a digital core. So there will be cable ducts on both sides of the railway embankment, of course, which can be used for optical fiber installations for railway critical use, for safety, traffic management, signaling, but also to be used as dark fiber to be commercialized together with commercial operators. And this is, of course, what we call a dig once approach, which can, of course, be carried over also to the reconstruction works in Ukraine. And of course, obviously, it drives a lot of synergies in terms of investment requirements, and also, of course, time-wise, that can accelerate the restoration of both physical and digital infrastructure in Ukraine.
And I think you talked about that sort of single infrastructure for rail and connectivity. I think on the rail side, that the conference we've been hearing about, including some of the signalling requirements for trains and the communications aspects of that.
Yeah, well, Europe has, of course, been very supportive of Ukraine. Of course, we all want to see Ukraine on its path towards full EU membership, and therefore, on all the different fronts, Europe is extending its cooperation and strategic planning geography into Ukraine. So one of the items is now Europe is currently involved in the reassessment of its European transport networks.
Correct.
Basically even redrawing the map and drawing also line connections into Ukraine.
I mean, this is part of a bigger picture. It's much bigger picture.
And here again, along with that, also come all of the different investment programs in the EU. Of course, we are hoping that in the future, Ukraine, which like Latvia, like Baltic states, currently operates a broad gauge railway system, that sooner or later there will be a line connecting Ukraine either to Poland or to Slovakia, but connecting with a European gauge railway. So this is one example how Europe in the long term will facilitate Ukraine's full integration into the EU. And the same, of course, needs to happen also on the digital infrastructure side. Of course, the radio spectrum doesn't have physical borders, but if we speak about broadband connectivity, optical fiber backbone connections with the rest of the European Union, also 5G infrastructure, future possibilities of 6G. Here again, I think we are all taking into account Ukraine, and we want to bring Ukraine fully embrace Ukraine into European family.
And let's talk a little bit more about the conference, because 5G Territory, it's been going for 6 years, this is the sixth one this year, and I think it's, although it's got the label 5G, it's actually about bringing all the Nordic and Baltic states together and collaborating on things that require like that connectivity and the technology. So you've been quite involved in that, haven't you?
No, absolutely. I mean, there are many important dimensions to 5G Territory, running, I think, for 6th or 7th year. On the one hand, it showcases, Latvia as one of the leaders in 5G deployment, one of the first countries to have public 5G deployment. Again, other countries have caught up over time, and we're very happy for that. I think this is a wonderful technology that can bring wireless broadband access to a large amount of population. But it is also a very nice platform where different stakeholders can meet. And again, in a very nice triple or quadruple helix fashion, if we speak in the innovation ecosystem terms, it allows both the public sector, both on the national, on the European level, but also on the global level. We have ITU representatives, other global telecom regulators and or organizations on the one hand. Then we have, of course, the private sector, anything from telecom operators, the railway companies, young, agile startups. Then we also have, of course, research organizations, and of course also various industry and non-governmental organizations. So again, I'm very happy. This was not the first time I attended. This is a very high-profile event, which if some, especially politicians, tend to think that things like innovation, digitalization, 5G, machine learning, or artificial intelligence, that these are just buzzwords, then suffice to say that when you arrive at an event like this, when you go to also some of the thematic sessions, where you have world-class speakers bringing their very practical examples of how they're practically applying all these technologies, commercializing these technologies, then of course you quickly understand that these are not political buzzwords. This is the reality.
And one of your areas, I think your background is with digital rail, as Rail Baltica and digital rail. So I think there were quite a few presentations on digitalization of railways, and I think you gave a talk as well, didn't you?
Yeah, well, this is again both in the context of the Rail Baltica as the greenfield project, basically building an entire set of infrastructures from scratch, but also in terms of digitalizing our existing railway system. These are, of course, a top priority, and here railways, as a traditionally very conservative industry, which was always characterized by these kind of long-term, very established collaboration formats with particular manufacturers, be that for signaling or traffic management systems or for electrifications. Usually you would sign a contract with a particular vendor, and those contracts would last for many, many years, if not decades. Mostly proprietary standards and equipment to be used, obviously leading to lock-in effects. And here, especially in the greenfield environment, and of course in the existing railway system, we have some examples of such lock-in, where you of course are at the mercy, in some respects, of a particular vendor, and that vendor's ability to innovate, and with that allow also the railway to innovate. With Rail Baltica, again, we have this fantastic opportunity of doing things from scratch, and that's why a part of our philosophy is to use as much open source, off-the-shelf, these kind of open both hardware and software. This is something that also the emerging standards facilitate. One good example is FRMCS,
yes,
which is the next generation radio communications technology. The previous one, called GSMR for GSM Railways, was of course based on 2G technology. So now we're making this quantum leap from 2G to 5G. So this FRMCS technology will be based on 5G. It's nearing its finalization in terms of standardization, and Rail Baltica hopefully becomes one of the early adopters of this technology. And then of course also in other areas, also in electrification, other kind of railway related systems, we will try to promote use of open standards, open equipment, to avoid these lock-in effects. There are also many standardization initiatives in the industry, some of which are of course led by UIC, which is the International Railway Organization. And here the railway industry takes a lot of inspiration from the telecom industry, which has been telecom and IT, broader industry, which has been, of course, very, very successful in unlocking the true potential for technological change and innovation through openness. Again, railways traditionally a very conservative industry, but here I think there's a win-win. I mean, you can be both innovative, you can adopt the latest technologies, but at the same time they're standardized, therefore they're safe, high quality, but provide you with the necessary flexibility to upgrade, especially in view of how quickly technology changes these days.
What, from a technology point of view, what should we be looking out for from Latvia over the next 12 months before the next 5G territory? What's your vision? What are you seeing happening right now, which is going to be coming to fruition over the next 12 months?
Yeah, well, one area where we will pay special attention is, to ensure last mile connectivity. Latvia has been quite successful in deploying the digital backbone, both in terms of fiber network and again some of the highest data consumptions per capita in the world. Again, testimony to the very good broadband penetration and also wireless 5G penetration, but still there are some patches which are not covered, so we want to fill the gaps, also find a way of ensuring synergies between mast infrastructure, including here in the very dense city of Riga, where roofing space is of course used, and then sometimes of course the property rights, the rental rights issues are not always resolved. So there is quite a good potential. Another major area is development of digital twins. And here I speak about industry level or even government level digital twins. We, as a ministry that also has in our ecosystem, we have the Latvian Radio and Television Center that houses some of the most powerful both computing and storage, including cloud storage facilities in Latvia. So we want to be an industry that could pilot some of these emerging digital twin technologies, essentially trying to pool different data inputs, anything ranging from traffic data, public transport timetables, traffic collision data, and so on. All these different inputs from all modes of transport: road, rail, public transport, aviation, marine traffic, ports, business, digital side, and then see how we can pool all of that data together, and then of course use algorithms, machine learning to provide us, some aids in decision making based on real-time information. Having this kind of single pane of glass, dashboard type accessibility, and if that works out here in the industry of transport, then of course this is something we can then further promote in other industries. And my goal, if we speak about the kind of optimizing government decision making, is that ultimately we reach the level that some countries have been piloting in the US, in Sweden, in Germany, also in Lithuania, these kind of government level digital twins, where you try to, I know that our neighbors in Lithuania have upwards of 11,000 different data inputs into the digital twin system, which of course immediately allows you as the government to take much better decisions, taking into consideration real-time data availability.
Modeling and doing a lot of
anything, yeah. I mean, with machine learning, with artificial intelligence, sky is the limit.
Yeah. Well, Minister, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.